Hey, it is 2 o'clock live. We're here for 2 o'clock live. It's Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock Eastern Time, Eastern Standard Time. It is 2 o'clock. So we are here for 2 o'clock live, right? I hope everybody had a really good weekend. My weekend was good. Had a little bit of rest included in it, had a little bit of work, probably a little bit more work than there was rest, but we did it. We did it. We did it. Yep, we did it for the weekend. And now we're here back for another trading week, back for another week of making money, back for another week of learning because we are learning all the time. Oh, why does this keep turning? We're here for another week of learning. That's what we're doing here. We're learning how to trade. For those of you who open up the windows, get a little more natural light. There we go. For those of us who are learning to trade, learning how to make money in the market, that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. Today's topic, we're going to talk about how you can make money every day as a seller. How can you make money as a seller? How can you make hundreds of dollars a week or a month or whatever as a seller? That's what we're here to talk about today. Because I've spent time talking about selling options versus, selling versus buying. Hey, Miss Deborah. Well, I've spent time talking about buying versus selling. We've talked about that on a live or two, right? Talked about calls and puts, buying and selling. And we've talked about that for a minute, right? So now I want to lean in a little bit more. We've covered some good terminologies, some words. We looked at some options chains. We've kind of got in a little bit deeper. So first of all, I want to mention that tomorrow and Wednesday, we're having the Options 411 live boot camp. Options 411 is running in the ticker along the bottom. That's a boot camp. What is the purpose of this boot camp? Let's talk about that first. The purpose of this boot camp is for those who, number one, are not options traders, but want to be, would like to know what is this all about, want to know, is it really what people say it is? Is it not for you? The way you figure out whether something is for you is you get a little more information about it. You say, find out if it's for you or not. Or if you're an options seller, an options trader, but you aren't sure if you want to explore option selling. Because most times when people start off doing options, they start off as an options buyer. Most people start as an options buyer. What I do is I teach options as a seller. So when we're doing this boot camp is talking options as an introductory thing. We're talking about options as an introduction and going to the next level, which is options trading as a seller. And what does that look like? What does that look like? How is that going to present me a way to make money on a daily basis or weekly basis or monthly basis? Because we can make money in all those. We can make money on the daily. We can make money on the weekly. We can make money on the monthly, yearly. We're trying to do this longer term. Hey, Miss Saida, we're trying to do this longer term, right? For sure. So that's what we're talking about. Options 411 is the boot camp. You can register for that over at Educator2Trader. That's what we're doing tomorrow evening, talking about options. If you want to be a part of that and get a lot more, clearer, have your questions answered, all those good things, you're welcome to come on and join us. This is round 4. We're calling it round 4. We've had 3 cohorts of this where we go through the boot camp and then we go into a live coaching window for about 4 to 6 weeks where we learn much more closely, much more, you get a lot more in depth. You learn how to work your platform and how to get your account set up. You learn all the strategies. You get the hand holding and walking through what are options and all the words and terminology and learn all the things. And then we learn, how do I make money? Because that's really what we're after here. We're after, how do I make money in the midst of this? I'm not just trying to learn it to learn it. I'm learning it because I want to make money doing it. Right? We're learning it so we can make money doing it. So that's Options 411 Bootcamp, which is tomorrow. If you're interested in that, go ahead and go over to Educator2Trader.com and get signed up. What I want to share with you today, though, is the ways. What are the ways in which you can make money as an option seller? Because there's multiple ways, right? When it comes down to it, we're buying calls. You can just, just calls and puts. And the overall scheme of things is just calls and puts. It's what are you doing with those calls and puts that are going to, hey, Anon, what are you doing with those calls and puts in order to make money? Okay, what are you doing with the calls and puts to make money? As a seller, here we go. The first thing you can do is you can sell covered calls. That's the first thing you can do as a seller to make money on a weekly basis. Selling covered calls, quite passive, doesn't require a lot of time. You do these when you believe price is going to stay below your strike. You need to have 100 shares or you need to have a leap to work with, but you can sell covered calls for weekly money. Second thing you can do, you can sell cash secured puts. You might hear it called selling puts. You can sell puts. Selling puts and covered calls kind of go together because they work what's called the wheel strategy, where you basically combine, you sell puts for money, weekly money, by the way. This is another way you're selling weekly money. And then if you end up getting put the shares in your account, then you sell covered calls on those same shares and you sell them until those shares get called away. And then you sell puts again. That's called the wheel. It's basically a wheel. You sell puts, you get put you get put the shares, you sell covered calls on those shares, the shares get called away, you sell puts, da 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 da. That's the wheel. That's two ways: selling covered calls, selling cash secure puts. Those two things will provide you, or can provide you, about 10%, 5 to 10. You can do about 5-8% per week, depending on how close you're trying to get to your strike price. And I see in about 2-week window, you can do about 10% return on your collateral with selling covered calls and selling cash secure puts. 10% return on your money in a week or 2 weeks. That's better than most people do in their portfolio, right? And cash secure puts and covered calls don't require any watching. So if your life does not have room for you to be watching the stock market all day or watching it at all, or you don't even want to have to do the watching, then cash secure puts and covered calls are the two things that you might want to lean in on. Lean in. What we're talking about here is what kind of ways we can make money. We can turn our hundreds, we can pull our hundreds every week out of the market. How can we take less than $500 and make money out of the week? So cash secure puts, covered calls is two ways, right? We can sell credit spreads. Credit spreads is a big piece of what we do. That is call credit spreads and put credit spreads. You can sell these for as little as $50 of collateral. There's several ones: AMC, EOSC, Palantir, Beyond, Rivian, Carvana. I mean, I could continue naming them. Those spreads only require $50 of collateral. And you're going to take in premium. So it's really less than $50 of collateral that you need in order to trade call credit spreads and put credit spreads. And you can trade those week upon week, rinse and repeat. You can take $50 and for each week, pull in $15 a week, let's say. You might say that's not really a lot of money. Well, if you can make 15 off 50, that means you're making 30 off of 100. That means you're making 60 off of 200 in a week. Taking $200 and pulling in 60. And if you want more and more, you just multiply and do more. That's how that works, right? You do call credit spreads, put credit spreads. You can pick higher stocks, the ones that are one spread, like SPY. SPY, you could do call credit spreads and put credit spreads on SPY and XSP every single day, because you can use that same $100. It's a one spread, those two. You can use that same $100 and rinse and repeat those day after day. All this stuff requires a strategy. Okay, so even though I'm pumping it out and making it sound like it's just, people get me when they say, all you got to do is. People, you telling somebody, they asking them how to do something and they reply and say, all you got to do is, You're like, all I got to do. It's definitely more than all you got to do is. It's something more to it than that. You've got the wheel strategy, call credits. You got cover calls, cash secure puts, call credit spreads, and put credit spreads. Those are 4 things you can do right off rip, right? You can do what's called iron condors. Anybody ever heard of iron condors? These things all have fancy dancy names. If you've got iron condors are basically when you do put credit spreads and call credit spreads at the same time. How do you do them at the same time? Oh, by the way, if you hang around to the end, I think I'm going to do another XSP trade for the end of the day. We'll look at XSP again at the end of the day. If you hang on in there, you got to hang on in there, and then we'll look at XSP at the end. Okay. Iron condors, you can do this. These names may not sound like anything to you, but I'm telling you, they make some money. Good thing with iron condors is you can take that same $50, do a call credit spread and a put credit spread, take in $25 to $30 of premiums. That means you're taking $50, turning it into 25 more. So 50 becomes 75, and you can continue to grow it like that with iron condors every week. Right. That requires call credit spreads and put credit spreads require a little more watching than covered calls and cash secure puts, but not too much more. Not a whole lot more. You can continue this. You can go as close as trading SPX on 0 DTE. It's supposed to be a 0 DTE spreads. What's a DTE? DTE equals days to expiration. DTE means days to expiration. So if you've got something that is a 0 DTE, that means it expires today. It means it expires the same day you enter into it. So SPX, XSP, SPY, I don't think Triple Q is on a daily expiration. If it is, y'all straighten me out if Triple Q expires every single day. But I know that SPY, XSP, and SPX all expire the same day. Now, this is when you're getting a lot more aggressive as far as your trading, and you're making daily money. So you see, if anybody y'all follow me on Facebook, and if you don't, please join the Facebook group. That way you can be a part of what we're doing. But my community does 0 DTE. Oh, Triple Q, it has 0 DTE. Okay, cool. Thanks, Nelson, for that. Triple Q is 0 DTE. So if you're trading a 0 DTE, that requires a little more watching and a little more strategy, because sometimes they can get wild. Get my baby out the nets. Sometimes they can get wild. So you need to be, IWM is enough. I thought IWM was still 3 days a week, but Nelson says it's daily also. Yeah. So if you're going to trade those things, IWM, Triple Q, SPY, SPX, XSP, you're going to trade those every day. They're definitely going to require a lot more watching, and you're going to need a strategy that's got you covered, right? But you can use that same $100 on almost all those. SPX requires $500 of collateral, but all the others only require $100 of collateral, and you can rinse and repeat that every day. Nelson says IWM is only 3 days a week. I thought it was, but you can just rinse and repeat that money using the same money. This is the key that I want to make sure people are getting out of this. That if you use $100 for XSP today, let's say, and it expires today, the trade goes your way. You take in your money when you first enter the trade. You take in your $15 or $20 for the day. The next day, that $100 that you use, let's say you use it today on Monday. When you go on Tuesday, that same $100 you used on Monday, you can use it again. You don't have to add another $100 or add another $100. You're using the same money for Monday. You do your trade on Tuesday. Everything goes well. You use that same $100 for Wednesday. So you use the same $100 multiple times, and you're making money off the same $100 each time. It's almost like them those check cashing places. It's like them check cashing places. They give you the money, and you come back and give it back. They give you the same money they gave you the first time, but they make they make interest off you again for 2 more weeks of letting you borrow the money that they only gave you to the same $200 2 weeks ago. They're not giving you any more money. They're giving you the money they already gave you. Right? Same thing's happening here. Using the same $100 and you rinse and repeating with that same $100 all week long, week after week after week. And then before you know it, you're going to be done doubled that $100. And now you're at $200 because you've made money. Now that means you don't want to lose any of it along the way, because if you lose some along the way, then you can't use what you don't have. Right? But if you pick the strikes, again, using the strategies, all these things include strategies, which is why I'm bringing up the options 411. Because in options 411 is where we learn strategies. We learn how to use this $100 over and over and over. And how do we push the right buttons? What's the proper time to get in? How do we pick our strikes? That's what we're doing in our options 411s. We're learning all the steps to making sure these strategies work for us. Right? So I covered calls, cash secure puts, put credit spreads, call credit spreads, iron condors, which is that 0 DTE, SPX, XSP, SPY, triple Q. All those are 0 DTE options, right? For those who may be interested, I think I'm on number 4 or number 5. It might be on number 5. We're looking at shorting the shares. You can short shares as a seller. You learn how to short. Basically, shorting means you borrow shares from the broker. And then, hey, Sin Cherry. And then once you borrow them, price goes down, you sell them back to the broker. And the difference between those two things is your money. So you're selling them, let's say at $100. I'm picking a number out of the air, $100. The price goes down $3. You did 10 shares. So if the price goes down $3 times your 10 shares, you make $30. That's how that goes. Okay. And shorting, there's no expiration on shorting. So when you're doing options, there's expirations on options and a bunch of Greeks and all the stuff you got to worry about. But when you're shorting shares, it's basically the opposite of buying shares, wanting them to go up. When you're shorting them, you're borrowing them, wanting them to go down. Again, another strategy. It's a strategy. Yeah. A strategy. Okay. Now there's all kinds of nuances of this. You can do the butterflies and the other things and the broken wings and do the other pieces where you got 3 legs and 4 legs, and it's a whole lot more stuff going on there. I'm definitely not getting into that on this phone call, because that's going deeper and deeper, and that's not where we're going. Not right now. Not right now. All righty. But daily money comes with SPX, XSP, triple Q. Those are daily money strategies. Covered call, cash secure puts, credit spreads on other equities. Those are weekly strategies that you can use. And you can go out further in time. The further out in time you go, the more you take in premiums, right? You can do those that way. All these come down to strategies. Going to present here real quick. Let me share my screen. Because I want to talk a little bit more about this options boot camp that we're having. I mentioned it, but you know what? Many of you, or some of you, I won't assume many because I really can't see all the people who are here, but some of you may not need some of these people. You may not need everything, but you might need, what you do need is enough for you to go ahead and get registered. I tell that to my students. You might be good with multiplying or dividing or doing fractions, and that may not be a problem for you, but it's a problem for somebody else. But when we get to how to use those things, you may be somebody who needs a little more assistance. Options 411 for newbies, 2-day boot camp, teaching you how to get paid every week from the market. Like Wall Street Trapper says, we don't have to get it out the mud. We're getting it out the market. But just like anything else, you need to be taught how to get it from the market. It's not difficult, but you still need guidance. I needed guidance, and I'm sure other people do too. I'm not the only person. And if I can help guide you and navigate you through the maze, save you some time, effort, and heartache and pain, save you the losses that I had to take while I was learning, right? That's what a coach helps you do. A coach helps you to navigate around pitfalls and to get around the landmines that you don't even know are there because you're new, right? So we're going to teach you how to get paid every week from the market. We have an options quick start. What can we start with? What can you start with to start making money right away? Because that's what we need. You need to, there is learning that goes along with trading options. There's no way around that. But you want to get through the quick start. You want to get to the money as fast as you can while learning along the way. We do the basics and the options lingo because there is language and terminology that has to do with options. You cannot get around the terminology because if they're talking about calls and puts and you don't know the difference between those two, somebody mentions delta or theta and you don't have a clue what they're talking about, or implied volatility, you don't. And if I'm saying something, you're like, I don't know what that is. You need to join on up to the options 411 boot camp. Right? We're talking about strike prices and expirations and you are clueless. Come on in. We're going to work with you getting your broker and accounts set up. You got to see what is your account. A lot of people have accounts, but they're not set up right. You got an account for you to trade with, but you don't know it's not set up properly for options, number one, and or you don't know how to use it for options. Just because you got it, Robinhood is very straightforward, very user-friendly, but you still got to know which buttons to push because you'll find yourself in something you didn't plan on being in. And if you got the money for it, Robinhood is not going to stop the trade if you got the money, right? You don't want to be putting yourself into harm's way because you don't know when there's a way to learn for an inexpensive price. And we're going to talk selling versus buying. I do talk about buying options. What does that entail? I've taught buying options. I know how to teach it and have taught it, how to buy options, but I'm primarily a seller's coach. I teach selling, but I need to know about buying in order to talk about selling. I can't talk about how selling is different than buying if I don't know how to do buying, or I don't know what buying is. Buying options. I'm talking about options here, by the way. The boot camp is tomorrow evening, the 18th and the 19th, Tuesday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. via Zoom. 18th and 19th via Zoom. All righty. If you've got any questions, who's got questions? If you've got some questions, go ahead and put them in the chat, please. Ms. Deborah says, I've learned a lot about selling covered calls. Initially, I didn't understand, but I do now, thanks to Educator2Trader. Yes, you're welcome. You're welcome. That's what we're here to do. My objective is to get us taught as much as we can. My objective is to get as many people taught as possible. Many people taught as possible. We trying to stay green and get this money. That's the two things we do in this. We're really trying to do in this community. Stay green and get this money. That's what we're doing. Well, stay green and get this money. Yes, yes, and yes. All righty. If you haven't registered for that, please do so. While I get what's his name opened up, y'all go ahead and you're going to look here at XSP to see if we can find us a trade at the end of the day. At first, I was scared. This is one of the ways that we make money every afternoon is we use XSP and we look at a way to make us some monies, right? If you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, please do so. Like and subscribe, hit that bell so that way whenever I'm on, you can get notified. So that way you'll be able to come on and join us too. If you haven't joined our Facebook group, it's Educator2Trader on Facebook. You can follow me there or join the Facebook group. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. You can find me there, Educator2Trader, in all the places. There is if you want to see, there's I think I posted the other day the trading plan for if you're looking to be a option seller, you need a trading plan. I put a link up for that. That should be in the chat, right? You can get a copy of the 7 mistakes that traders make that keep them from 7 figures. I can't say that I'm at 7 figures yet, just to be completely transparent, but I do know there's some mistakes that we've made along the way that we're no longer making that have changed the game. They've changed the game. I personally am not one. A lot of people show, their trading accounts, their sizes. I was in a group where this guy was showing all of his wins and trying to get people to come on. And people who were really trading started looking a lot more closely. Come to find out, he was trading in his sim account, which I don't have a problem with you trading in your sim account, because I think everybody should trade in their paper trading and their sim until they get comfortable with their strategy. What I do have a problem with, though, is you passing off your sim money as real money, because that's not right. Because whenever something don't go your way in the sim, you could just erase it. The sim will reset your money. It lets you pick how much money you want to put. It lets you do that. I got a problem with that, because I think that's dishonest. But because people are going after clout or other things, and this, of course, is never everybody. I'm not one who's going to put a lot of that out there, because I feel like I'm going to help us all get to where we're going. And whether or not I've made 100K or 200K or 500K or $100 doesn't really determine whether or not, you can't say, well, that just says whether or not it works. Maybe, but what if I put in $90,000 and now it's at 100K, or maybe I put in 99,000 and now it's at 100K. You don't know where the money originally started at. I mean, people can say anything. That's my point I'm making. People can say anything, right? I'm going to honestly portray for you where I'm at, because that at this point, again, I'm not shooting for any clout. I'm really trying to help as many people as possible to learn how to understand the market and use it to their best benefit. So I teach strategies. I teach us how to pull money out of the market. Sometimes it works for me, sometimes it doesn't. But most of when it doesn't work for me, it's not because of the strategy. It's because I've not followed it. Believe it or not, sometimes the coach doesn't even follow the guidelines or the rules. You get greedy. Other psychologicals kick in, FOMO, greed. I'm distracted. I'm doing other things and I'm not focused. And that happens, right? So just because I could put anything in my trading account, that money could have come from anywhere. I've worked my whole life. It could be a 401k worth of money. You don't know where the people's money came from. They could tell you it came from growing the trade, and it could have, but it also could not have, right? I'm not saying everything's a scam, because people are like, it's a scam. Everything's not a scam. Some people are really out here genuinely trying to help. Everybody know, because nothing is ever everybody. Nothing is ever everybody. Okay, let's go. I need to share my screen again. Now that I've jumped back off my soapbox, I can share. We see what we got here. Okay. Where we's at. In case you're looking, it says up at the top, it says simulated trading. That's where we are. I got a whole bunch of money, $212,000 in my simulated trading. Let's go look at XSP. Come on. There we are. We looking for 0 DTE XSP, which is for today. Looking for today. If you haven't added this probability OTM on your option chain, or you probably should think about adding that on there. And if you're not sure how, let me see, make sure. If I go right here under layout, this is if you're in Thinkorswim. If you're in other brokers, you're going to have to just find it. But for us, you can click here under layout. And once I drop this box down, okay, come on, there we go. I can get it to customize. So I selected layout. I selected customize, right? And then you can pick whatever column or whatever you want to put on your option chain. Take on, take off, whichever. I have delta, the volume, open interest, and probability OTM. This is saying it's a probability of being out of the money. The probability of this strike being out of the money. And we do want out of the money as sellers. You want in the money as a buyer. You want out of the money as a seller. So I have the probability OTM on both sides here. Says that if we're looking at these single strikes, I'm on the single chart, looking at these single strikes, probability of being out of the money, 452 has almost a 70% probability of being out of the money. The next one down, 451, has a 93% probability of being out of the money. Of course, that's really good. It's got a 7% chance of being in the money. This is good. You want this money number to be as high as possible, but the higher you go, the less the premiums. Notice how you get up here, these premiums start looking like zeros because there is no money there. You can get away and be safe. There ain't no money. So I'm looking at 452, 452 or 451 on the put side. And on the call side, you can look at 453, 75% being out of the money. The next one up is 94%. Yes, you can go on up. 452 for you can go right on up. But when you do that, just know the premiums won't be as nice. So I'm going to show you for 451, 452, the premiums is $12. You get into that trade as a credit spread, a put credit spread. But if you go down one strike to the 450, 451, see that big zero? There's $1 you're going to make as a credit. And we don't want $1 as a credit because you're going to pay $1.50, $1.30 in fees, right? You may think about, let's just do one side or the other. I had the chart on here. Maybe it'll show up. Generally, when the chart, you want to see what the market has done for the day. I don't suspect that I don't suggest that you just do that willy-nilly, because if you're looking to see that the price has been going up all day, you're going to want to have a good handle on, this is the candle for the day. You want to see what kind of movement that the price has been doing all day long. It's going to give you a little bit more indication of what's going on. So this candle, I'm going to see if I can change it to the 15-minute, but Thinkorswim sometimes on XSP doesn't want to populate the data. But it shows here, where have we been today so far? We've been as high as 452. If you look at this candle and you look along that top line where it says XSP 1 year, 1 day, it's been as high as 452. It's been as low as 450.49. So it's been above 452.48 and higher than 450.49. So it jumped right above that little that little resistance up there, and it's on top of that. All right, 450.49. So let's go look what we've been between today. So I don't know. Let's see if it'll fill in the 15-minute chart. Sometimes it wants to do. Oh, there it is. XSP. Sometimes it doesn't. So it looks like we got it today. But this is what XSP has done today. It's been going upwards all day long, which means the 450 strike, that's why there's no money, because price has been going up all day long. So where is some support here? If you're looking at the chart, you're going to do a put credit spread. You want to see where is some support so you can get below support. Looks like it's 451.62 is a support area on the daily chart. I mean, on the 15-minute chart, but it's on today's data is what I'm saying. So you may be able to work with 451 because 451 and some change is support. Okay, let's go back to the trade because we got our resistance here. It's right at the resistance area of 452.51. It's just hovering up there. Based on this up here is where the resistance is. So you may want to get a bit above that. Let's go back to trade. I was looking at the put credit spread side, 451. Again, doesn't really have any money there. 452 is going to pay a little more monies. But if we go back, this is where you can kind of give yourself a little more help. 62% out of the money. That's getting a little close. Under the put side, like it wants to come on back down. 61% out of the money. That means there's a 39% chance it will be in the money. And those are maybe higher odds. Some people would like to have odds in the 70s. Want better odds than that. Let's go look on the call side though. Call side, 81% chance at 453. Let's see if we can look on 453. See if we see some decent premiums here. 453, you're going to collect $7. Leveraging 100, collecting 7. I usually change it a little bit. Give me see if a few more dollars will come in. But keep in mind, the price has been going up. Today, it's like it kind of hit and bumped back, but I would go with 453, 454 on the call credit spread side. Price is coming down, as you see here. It was at 452 and some change higher. It was like 30 something, 40 something now since I've been on the call with y'all these last few minutes. It's coming down. I still like 452, even though price does seem to be coming a little bit towards it a little bit more than we like. Single. I can't see anybody's comments. So if y'all putting comments up, I can't see them just yet. Okay, 451, price is coming towards it, but it's not enough premiums there for that to, in my opinion, to be worth it. Nope, $3, you're gonna pay $1.30 in fees. That means you're gonna make $1 and some change. Now, what you could do here is you could put in, that for this trade. Why is there not two legs? Oh, I need to change this. Oop, this needs to be a vertical, because I would say, why is there's only one line here? Should be two. There's only $1 here. Definitely not worth it. $2. Nope and nope. 452 is gonna pay real nice. I'm gonna put this trade in. It's gonna be a little more risky though, because of the fact that price is coming back towards it, 452. And if the price goes into or under 452, that means your trade is going to be what's called breached. Another piece of terminology. If it comes into that strike, that's going to be breached. And we talk a lot more in detail about what happens, how to manage your trade, how to defend your trade, how are you taking your money, what is your max profit, what's your max loss. All that stuff is addressed and arranged inside of the strategy. We talk about the strategies. I'm looking to the side because my Instagram is over to the right. So don't think I'm just looking off in the weird, acting like a weirdo. Look, what are you looking at? I'm looking at the Instagram screen. All righty. So if you haven't already, sign up for Options 411 if you're interested in doing that. I do have a training coming up on Saturday talking about SPX, trading the 1DTE SPX. And if that's something you're interested in, I think that's running along, but I know I'll talk about it again tomorrow. All righty. We've been on about 39 minutes, 36 minutes. This is a little bit longer. I like to stay about 30 minutes. 30 minutes for me. 2 o'clock live. We're here every day, 2 o'clock, talking option selling stuff. Please come join us. Like and subscribe to the channel. We do two things in this community. We stay green and we get this money. All right. I'll see y'all later. Bye-bye. Oh, there's a comment here. Oop, what was the comment? Oh, gotta go.